Welcome to Psychology Brothers, where we talk about many pointless things, but
with a point.
And we're going to talk to you now about the type of feelings you get from the people around you that you say give you maybe uncomfortable feelings, and it's usually of people with a perceived level of power. And it could be your boss, or it could be someone in your family environment like your mother or father that you've always looked up to in the same way that you're looking up to me and Craig now through the camera, and you feel somewhat powerless in their illusion of their power, fullness.
We grow up with a false belief, don't we, of looking up to these people just because they have maybe a broader knowledge or a sort of status where they should be respected. You should never feel bad about your mum and dad. You should never criticise them. They brought you up, so to have a bad thought about them is wrong. To falsely respect a doctor more than a care worker, we see them as someone who's been educated, have a great knowledge, and we respect that more than another person.
Mum is right, Dad is right, my boss is right, and their opinions of me are exactly true, and the opinions I have about myself are irrelevant. If their opinion of me is crap, if their opinion of me is that I'm not good enough, those opinions, because we put them on that pedestal of power, are more significant than the opinions that we have about ourselves. And in fact, maybe we don't even have an opinion about ourselves. That's why we give over our power to people that we perceive as more powerful than us, when really they're just human beings that have lived and grown, and they go to the toilet just like we do. They go to the toilet for a poo and a wee the same way we do.
And it happens all day, doesn't it? It happens every day. You bump into these people, some disrespect you, some give you a little bit of respect, then it can be all up in tatters in an instant when you haven't fitted to their system and their beliefs and their morals and their values that they have. Where we need to understand we're a human being with feelings and emotions, and the person that we're looking right in their eyes is exactly the same.
And that's exactly right what Craig said. And ultimately, when we look down on you now as you look up to us, we're the ones providing you with these other states of perspective, like we know what we're talking about. And instantly as you look up to us, you have feelings of, these guys know what they're talking about and I don't. And I'm watching this channel or this TV station now to try and get answers to questions that I don't have. But let's play a little game. Let's now lower the angle of the camera. So we're looking up at you guys. I'm low down now and I'm looking up at you guys because I want to get across to you people watching on the TV now that actually you know more than us.
And it's okay if you know something, it's okay if you don't. If somebody says a fancy word, they've learned that.
Wait there a minute. We're not giving them wisdom now. We're looking up to them. They've got the answers within them. They've got the power. What are you going to do with that power as you look down on us? Because guess what? We're flawed human beings. We feel pain. We struggle with life sometimes in the same way you do. What are you going to do with your power now looking down on us? Realising that you've got the power to be able to create the changes in your life that you want. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but you have got the power within you to get things moving in the direction in life that you want to move in. That's right. Thanks, Craig. So look down on us, get the perspective of what it's like to be somebody in that position of power, so to speak.
It's not a nice feeling, is it?
No.
It's not a nice feeling to look up to somebody. It's not a nice feeling to look down on someone, is it?
No, but why is it that humans seem to get a better feeling out of looking down to people than they do looking up to people? Why do we feel more comfortable with telling people how they should be and what they should do, rather than the ones being told how we should be and what we should do. Because to me, if I'm being honest with you, the Andrew of a few years ago would have felt more comfortable telling people how to get their stuff together.
I know what it is.
Go on.
We don't like to be wrong, do we? We don't like to be flawed.
No.
It's a horrible feeling to.
And
for
why
someone,
don't you think we like to be wrong and flawed?
Because that would make us feel that we're just not worthy, we're not right.
And probably feel the pain of that vulnerable younger self that had these feelings and was shamed and flawed by the people that we was most looking up to in life, that used to shame us and floor us.
It's the inner child, isn't it?
It's definitely the inner child that looks up at people and felt vulnerable, in need to express feelings and felt like they couldn't. And now when we can take that high bench and look down on that person and tell them what they should do, it gives us the feeling of the power that we never had when we was growing up.
I'd like to try something.
Go on then.
Why don't we look down once again?
Yeah.
But this time as the inner child as we feel now. So now, looking down, I'm still feeling vulnerable. I'm still asking for help. Now that we're looking down upon you, doesn't mean that we've got any knowledge or status that's better than you. I'm still an inner child. I am still small, even though I look like an adult.
Still afraid.
I'm still vulnerable, I'm still scared, I still need help.
Yeah.
I need a lot of help.
That's exactly right, yeah. So let's move that back now to an even level, where we look at the viewer on an even playing field, where we can say that it's good for us to feel power, it's good for us to try and express that power, but it's also good for us to feel vulnerable, and that actually it doesn't matter which side of the fence you're on, that it's actually okay who you are for what role you're playing in that moment. Does that make sense?
Are you saying that it's finding the balance of in between the two?
I am saying that, but I'm also trying to help them get a perspective that the person that they look on with power, that's instructing them and trying to use their power over them, that they can look at it in a new way, where it's not that person's making me feel bad, rather than that person's expressing and showing me a mirror of how they felt violated, vulnerable and weak as a child.
Well, that'd be great, wouldn't it? To see everybody just as vulnerable and also just as powerful as oneself.
So here we go. We're now on an even playing field, where there's no perspective of a pedestal of power, and there's no perspective of a decline of weakness. And what we see is the human being in front of us as somebody that's just like us, a vulnerable, scared, afraid human being that expresses those feelings through outward behaviours. That doesn't mean that you're flawed. So now let's look at not trying to give ourselves over to their power, that we're flawed as a result of the way they behave, seeing them as equals, and that you actually have a voice where you can express yourself without the worry that they can demean you or make you feel any more insignificant from the feeling that you've been running away from a long time.
A voice where you can say the first time whatever you want to, because there is no right or wrong, is there?
There is no right or wrong. But just to see if you can look at yourselves and champion yourselves as an equal human being, not an unequal, but an equal human being. That I go to work and I still feel that uncomfortable feeling and vulnerable and weak in the hands of somebody that I've put power into. Does that make sense?
You've done that, haven't you?
I've done that, yeah. And I forgive myself for doing it, because it's unconscious conditioning that I've grown up into a system of patriarchy, where there was always somebody that knew something or had a level of knowledge or feeling that was more significant than my own. I gave them that power. Well, I now take that power back and I share it equally between myself and them.
It's frustrating, isn't it, when somebody would describe somebody as, oh, he's an intelligent person. What is intelligence? Intelligence is just education, isn't it? It's a knowledge that you've learned.
Through life experience, that's true intelligence, isn't it?
We're all born with the same brain, so really nobody is different. They've just been nurtured differently.
And we'll just say one last thing, when you watch this video, replay it back and just try and be aware of your feelings that you're feeling while you watch the video, and then hopefully you'll start to understand a little bit more what we're trying to get across. Maybe not think too much, just be conscious of what you're feeling as we change those camera angles and make you aware of how you see certain people, depending on how you look at them. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. Thank you very much everybody for watching. It's a pleasure to do these videos, isn't it, Craig?
It is.